So you want to start playing Unholy DK because, you know, it's a top class, it's very fun, the blood is life, X number of reasons, but you don't know how. This is here to help you out. I will leave segments down below to kind of break everything about basic DK abilities, utility, defensives, to just a general rotation. So hopefully this guide will just be available to everyone and anyone, all skill levels, to help you on your DK journey. Now, before I go any further, if you guys would like this in a written form, I took the time to write it all out in a Google Doc. I will link it down in the description below. If you are more of a reader rather than a watcher, please go feel free to check out that guide written down below. Let's start off with our stat prio. We really want high haste and high mastery. Mastery helps things like your pet and your dot, and haste overall just allows you to kind of, you know, use more abilities. That's pretty simple. Just look for gear with that. Moving on to the basic resources. We have two key resources we need to manage. As you can see here, this blue bar is something we call runes. You can generate 3 runes at a time. They take 10 seconds to regenerate. And yeah, that's about it. The second thing down below this bar is our runic power. Similar to other classes that build up something, we build up runic power by spending runes, and then we can use said runic power on abilities like Epidemic, Death Coil, and Death Strike. We will get into those later. Anyways, let's get into our important abilities. We have, first and foremost, our dots. There are 3 dots in total. However, the one that I like to track is Plague. There's 2 major ways we can apply our dots. One is through Dark Transformation. The second one is through Outbreak. We will break both of those abilities down a little bit further. Next, we have, almost like a resource in itself, an ability called Festering Wounds. Festering Wounds can be applied on a target through our minion, our Defile, and our Festering Strike, which is an ability that costs 2 runes. Our Festering Wounds can pile up to 6, and we get damage for popping them, which we will break into the abilities that do that right now. So, like I said earlier, Festering Strike is one of the abilities that can put on a wound. Every time you Festering Strike on a target, it consumes 2 runes, and you can put anywhere from 2 to 3 wounds on them. After we pop 20 of those wounds that we applied either through Defile, Dark Transformation, or Festering Strike, we get what is called a Festering Scythe. Now, this is an empowered version of the spell, still costs 2 runes. The biggest difference is now instead of only applying wounds to your main target, it applies it in a frontal area anywhere with it, any mobs in front of you within 15 feet. So it's huge for AoE. Very important to track. And yeah, so every 20 pops, we get a Scythe. How do you pop the wounds? Well, here's one of the ways how. Scourge Strike. Scourge Strike costs 1 rune and is the main way that we are popping our wounds. Similar to Festering Strike, we can empower this spell. Every time we Death Coil, a spell we'll get into, we have a chance to turn our Scourge Strike into Vampiric Strike. When we Vampiric Strike, we deal more damage, we heal ourselves, we still pop 1 wound, but we also have a chance to summon our Blood Buddy, which is the biggest damage we have this season. Again, we will get into it. Moving on to Death Coil. Death Coil is one of our main spenders. It costs 30 runic power. It is what we use in anything that is 6 targets or less. It does a ton of damage, has a chance to give us a Vampiric Strike, and increases our Dark Transformation uptime by 1 second. On the contrary, we have Epidemic, which is what we use in big AoE pulls, 7 targets or more. Similar to Death Coil, it does use runic power. And this basically just enflares our dots, our plague, on the targets, dealing damage and damage to enemies around them. Now, let's move into Defile. As mentioned before, can apply runes. Defile puts an area of effect on the ground, which empowers us. It gives us haste. It allows us to cleave. Like I said, it puts wounds on targets. And the more an enemy stands in it, so the longer an enemy stands in it, the bigger and more damage it gets. So overall, very good to have. Extra cleave, extra haste, extra damage. Ultimately, we're trying to keep this uptime as much as possible throughout the key. Once you place it down, it lasts 10 seconds. You have the 10 seconds of all those buffs. Once it is over, or if you leave Defile, you have the bonus of that effect for 4 more seconds. So ideally, we place it down, we stay in it for 10 seconds, it expires After those 4 seconds, we place a new one. And we just repeat that cycle to try and keep Defile up as long as possible. Outbreak. This is what I mentioned to put dots on the target. It costs 1 rune. It applies your dots. It deals shadow damage to the main target. We really only use this when Dark Transformation is over, or when new mobs are coming in that don't have the dot on for whatever reason. Now, the big abilities. Dark Transformation. I've said it a lot before in this video already. Dark Transformation turns our pet or our ghoul or our minion, whatever you want to call it, into a freaky abomination that just deals more damage. It increases his attack power. It also applies your dots to everything around it. So when we're in this window, we just kind of get more damage. Things get dots on them. Overall, great. But the biggest thing and the coolest part about it is it gives us unlimited Vampiric Strikes. And as I mentioned before, Vampiric Strikes is how you get your Blood Buddy. We haven't gone over the Blood Buddy yet, but really, really important. So you pop your Dark Transformation and then you start spamming Vampiric Strikes, basically. That is kind of a good ability by itself, but we have another major cooldown called Unholy Assault. Unholy Assault puts 4 Festering Runes on your target, but it also sends you into a frenzy, increasing all of your damage by 20%. Now, we have a few procs that we need to track. One is Sudden Doom. Sudden Doom has a 25% chance to proc from your auto attacks. It increases the damage done by your Epidemic and your Death Coil. It gives you some other bonuses like increasing your Scourge Strike / Vampiric Strike ability, and it also summons a Magus of the Dead, which just helps you for 6 seconds, increase damage. Very, very important we use those as much as we get them. On to the last and probably the most important ability for this class right now, the Blood Beast. So the Blood Beast is a spawn that we can create from our Vampiric Strikes. Every Vampiric Strike has a chance to spawn him. He's in the game for 10 seconds. The damage you do and the damage he does accumulates in him. And then at the end of those 10 seconds, he explodes. And that is the Blood is Life. That is the ability. That is why you see some of these DKs spiking up to 30, 22, 19 million DPS in a pull. I think my personal best so far has been 28 mil. I haven't hit the 30 yet, but unreal damage. So that is why we Vampiric Strike. That is our goal, is to try and summon the Blood Buddy. Some people have names from like Doug, Kevin, Terry. Honestly, I call him Blood Buddy. His real name's Blood Beast. So, yeah, that is that. All right, moving on to our important utility, defensives, and overall just the kit of DK that we bring. First one being AMS, or Anti-Magic Shell, for the official name. It prevents magic. It prevents negative effects. A lot of stuff AMS can do for you. It is an amazing ability. It is a short cooldown. Press this one a lot. It will help a ton. Second, very cool ability. You get to cheese a lot of mechanics with this one as well. Death's Advance. This is our basic movement ability, but it also allows you to negate knockbacks, pushes, pulls, and you can't be slowed below your normal maximum speed, which is very awesome. Next, Anti-Magic Zone, or AMZ, or Z, depending on the group you're in. You might see people call for that. This is a group defensive. It is the purple dome that you see. It allows damage to be blocked up to, I believe, 14.9 million, 15 million, something like that. It lasts for 8 seconds, or until it absorbs all that damage. And it just absorbs 20% of the damage your team would take. So it is very big in high burst magic damage things. Think like the Candle boss in Darkflame Cleft. So anything like that would help your group. That's when you'd pop an AMZ. Iceborne Fortitude. This is one of our major defensives. It is a damage reduction for 30%. It lasts for 8 seconds. But the biggest thing about it is it also can negate stuns. You can pop it before or after you get stunned, and you are completely immune. It is wonderful, great to use if you ever get stuck in a situation where you maybe didn't move out in time, you get stunned, etc., etc. You can pop that. Or if you know a bunch of damage is coming, that 30% DR is huge. Next, Lichbone, another defensive. This one increases our leech by 6% and gives us a 15% damage reduction. So great for self-healing, great for damage reduction. It also allows you to be immune to sleep, fears, and charms. So similar to the stun, pop before or after. I don't think there's anything this season that fears, except maybe the last boss, Dark Flame, but I can't really think of anything else. But it's still useful as a defensive, still useful if you ever find yourself stuck in a situation. So Death Grip we have 2 charges of, pretty simple ability. We can just pull a mob from wherever it is to us. Very great for grouping. If a mob jumps out, think Priory, where they jump away from you. You can grab them, pull them back. Similarly, we have Slappy Hands. The official name is Abomination Limb. Some people call it A-Bomb Limb. I prefer Slappy Hands. You get a big green hand. It does AOE damage, and it also pulls in any mob within 20 yards over the next 8 seconds. And lastly, we have Death Strike. Death Strike is a great button to hit. It is technically a DPS loss, but it will save your life. I promise you, please, please use it. We use 35 runic power to Death Strike, and it will heal us for 40% of the damage we took in the last 5 seconds, with a minimum being 11.2% of our maximum HP. That is the minimum. So if you make a mistake and you take a bunch of damage, press Death Strike. You will heal yourself a lot. Your healers will be very happy. You will be very happy because you get to keep DPSing and you're not going to be sitting looking at your dead body on the floor. Please press your Death Strike. That's pretty much it for the abilities. Next, let's move into our rotations. All right, moving into our rotations, you can track my abilities that I press down here. Just keep in mind, some of them are weird with this add-on and they'll proc multiple times. I'm not hitting that multiple times. It's just the way that it is, and I apologize. But basically, the rotation's pretty simple for AoE. We are just going to come in, we'll drop a Defile, we'll Slappy Hands, we're going to Dark Transformation, Trinket, Racial, Unholy Assault, and then now we're just trying to spam Vampiric Strikes to try and get a proc. When we get our Doom procs, which are those on the side, we're going to press those. We'll put a new Death and Decay down, or sorry, Defile, and we're going back. Now I have a Scythe proc. I'm going to use that Scythe proc and just kind of continue. Once my ghoul is gone, I'll reapply my dot, and the same thing kind of applies. I am just trying to fish for Vampiric Strikes. I'll put a new Defile down. Overall, that is kind of the simplified version. So our prio list kind of goes as follows. We are going to spend Doom procs whenever we get them. Those were those green things on the side. We are going to Festering Scythe anytime we get it. This is the empowered Festering Strike that we get every 20 wounds we pop. Reminder, when we're in Defile, we can pop extra runes because of our cleave. We can hit 7 extra targets in our Defile. So we will get that very quickly, which sets up a nice loop. And then thirdly, we are Vampiric Striking. Now, if we run out of runes, we don't have a Doom proc, whatever the case, we can then spend runic power on Epidemic or Death Coil, depending on the group size, right? So to reiterate, we are going to spend Doom procs. We are going to Festering Scythe. We are going to Vampiric Strike. Then, if we can't do any of those three, are we going to spend runic power? So reminder, pop Dark Transformation. Start spamming Vampiric Strike. When we get a Doom proc, use the Doom proc. Keep spamming Festering Strike. When we get a Scythe, use the Scythe. We get a Doom proc, use the Doom proc. If we don't get anything, Vampiric Strike, Vampiric Strike, Vampiric Strike, Vampiric Strike. Why? So we can summon the Blood Buddy. Nice and simple. Got it? Wonderful. Reminder, one more time. Doom procs as soon as we get them. Festering Scythe as soon as we get them. Vampiric Strike as much as often. Only spend if we can't do any of those three. Wonderful. So that is AoE, nice and simple. Now we're going to move on to Single Target. Single Target's pretty similar. Let's assume, we're about to do a boss. We have everything. The biggest difference in Single Target is, unlike AoE, we kind of care a little bit more about capping on our runic power. In AoE, we don't. We do not care if we overcap. Single Target, we do a little bit because of our Death Coil. Doing extra damage because of tier set. Extra damage because of our talent build. So, we're going to come to the boss. We are going to drop a Defile. Drop the Defile, Dark Transformation, Trinket, Racial if it's offensive, Unholy Assault. Now we're popping runes. We got a Doom proc. We're going to use it. And we're just kind of balancing now between runic power and runes. We don't want to go above 6 runes. We don't want to go to 0 runes. And we don't want to try and cap. So it just becomes a balancing act. Remember to put the new Defile down. Put new Plague when it falls off. And ideally trying to stay between 2 and 4 wounds if we can. So we're applying, we're popping, we're popping, we're applying. We can pop wounds using our Festering Strike or Vampiric Strike if we get a proc. We can also pop them with our Doom procs, which is why they are so important to spread. Magus spawns, extra pop, extra damage, great overall. So yeah, that is the single target rotation. Like I said, the priorities are a little bit different, but overall very similar. Pop your Dark Transformation as much as you can. Try and summon the Blood Buddy as much as you can. Try and balance. Some people, I don't know which is better. I've simmed both. I've tried both. Very similar. Some people, when they're in their Dark Transformation window, only Vampiric Strike. Same as AOE. Only Vampiric Strike. Use their Doom procs when they get them. Only Vampiric Strike to try and summon the Blood Buddy. I'd say either or is viable, and you can do whichever one you think is best. But yeah, that's kind of it for Unholy DK. It is, I think, pretty simple. It is pretty fun. It does a lot of damage. I've been averaging maybe like anywhere from 3.1 to 4, like almost 4 mil in overall in keys, and I'm still not super geared on this tune yet. It's getting closer to 3K, so it's a lot of fun. I'm probably going to be playing it much more based on the group that I'm playing with and what we need. So yeah, if you guys want to see more videos similar to last season, I'm going to start bringing out the like voiceover guides as I kind of go through dungeons and talk through my abilities. So if you want to check that out, please subscribe. It helps me out a ton and allows me to keep making these videos. But I hope I helped. Like I said below, written guide if you need that. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.